Good morning, folks. This is a SPY report. As always, when you look for the specific trading levels, entries, exits, initial stops, and targets, you'll have to refer to the blog for the SPY intraday and SPY swing setups that we'll be looking at. But let's take a look at the 4-hour chart here first in SPY. And we can see that this wave we're clearly in the retracement of underneath the 200, underneath the 50, underneath both VWAPs. This would be the monthly VWAP. That's the weekly VWAP. Underneath all of that at this juncture. And holding at support level 1 on the prior day's daily pivot. You'll notice the smaller the letter, that is the daily pivot, the weekly pivot, the monthly pivots. All right, and they are all pretty important, which is why we've got them sitting there. Okay, so now what to do as the trade moves along today? We should have bounce action coming for a number of reasons. And pre-market, we are seeing a bit of a lift. I'm of the mind that the charts are in a space where they really do want to recover. They're dancing around the monthly pivot. That's something that is pretty normal when a chart dances around its monthly pivot like that. When it comes here, it's kind of a big deal. And so on the hourly chart, we've had the negative crossover event. We've had a sitting underneath this weekly and monthly VWAP. It's just a space where we are coming into some level of relative support, and what we need to do is bounce into the resistance regions to see if we can hold. If we can get up above these resistance regions of around 66 or so, we'll be in much better shape for more upside momentum. Other than that, this region here is going to be a bit like kryptonite for the chart. So you're going to watch for that. If it does lose this 164 area, it should easily slip down into this region right here. Let's show the crosshairs. Yeah, that won't give it to me there. All right, no worries. Right, we'll be looking at this region somewhere around 163. And truth be known, if the charts actually retrace this great big wave that we had since mid-June, it could easily come into the monthly support level 1. Remember, this is the monthly pivot. If it loses the monthly pivot, it's going to have some issues. All right, so that's what we're looking at right there. So far, the SMIs giving us, well, that's a little bit of a noisy SMI I've got written right there. But at the 0 line, the slow SMI giving us a pretty good indication that we've got bounce action coming. Look at where this was the last time it was here. Look at what we had. And now here, we've got this event, but this is negative divergence, right? Higher level, lower level. So that negative divergence is pretty important for us to consider from that perspective. See what's happening. Not really sure whether the charts are going to be moving up or down at this juncture. I do know that they should bounce into resistance. It's what they do here. Right? So when charts do this sort of thing, this is where we need to sit from a swing perspective and say, well, wait a second, what's the decision here? If we went short prior to the event, we should be staying short. But really, to take a long from a swing perspective here is still ill-advised because we're sitting underneath the 50 and we have lost both the monthly and the prior day's pivots. Taking a look at the IWM, you've got the same sort of relative formation, and let's drag this over a little bit. Now, the the TF, the Russell, has tendency to lead the ES in direction. And notice this came in to the monthly pivot and popped off of it, is now holding strength above the monthly pivot. Also showing signs of reversal. Upside momentum, pretty likely here. This action, the fast SMI is moving into trending territory and the slow SMI is moving in the same direction. What's going to be the line in the sand here? Can it get up over this 102.25 area? Can it pop into the 50 and hold it? And then can it come back up and recapture the weekly pivot? We do have a gap, as you can see right there from a closing perspective, and so that's going to be a pretty important stance to the overall chart by and large. Okay, so in trading this one, because it looks just a little bit stronger, here's a low, here's a higher low, here's another set of higher lows, and these are holding the highs and breaching just a bit. So that is telegraphing upside momentum. We are seeing a little bit of that in the pre-market. Watch for it to hold these regions in order to telegraph up through the region here and then come back and test the 200. That seems like the likely trajectory if that moves in the proper fashion up and out over the 50. Taking a look at the Qs. Not looking nearly as pretty, but again, this formation is giving us the idea that we are going to move. Listen, I've been saying this for a few days. The Qs are getting ready to do something. Whatever it is, it's going to be big because it's been holding this zone for a long time, right? Holding the zone since August the 14th. Something like that. It fell into the zone somewhere around there. So we're looking at about a week of movement right here, up and out over this region. So from a swing perspective, actually, that swing got triggered on the short side yesterday, but actually it got triggered day before yesterday, but because we had it at the loss here. So it mildly triggered, did not confirm, and then now it's triggering again here. What's the story? If this comes back up to 75.61 and cannot hold it, this is going to traverse more than likely past here and down into here, right? 74.37. That's what we're looking for right here. Watching for the pop and then the rejection at the 50. This one's getting ready to move. It's been a very long time since I've seen a sideways action event like this in the Qs, and so I think it's important. I think it's worth watching, and so we'll be watching for that to trigger on the swing. The only thing I don't like for short is that this is measuring here, and most of the time our short action is prettier if this line is up here. Okay, watch for the blog for the exact levels. Pay attention. Again, if it comes in here, loses a space, we know we've got downside momentum. If it comes in here and holds the space, we are going to come back up into prior resistance levels and the weekly pivot. All right. Hey, good luck trading today.